This is Lucy of paperglitterglue.com, and I want to show you how to make one of my Christmas Advent houses. They're little gift boxes, and I've got 14 different designs plus a little tree. So I want to show you how it works, how you can make it within Cricut Design Space. That's the cutting machine brand that I use. So I've already pulled up Cricut Design Space on my computer. This is what's called the home screen. You can see it right there. There's home screen. It's up on the upper left corner. Now I'm going to go over to this green button on the upper right hand corner, which says New Project. I'm going to click on that. And this brings me to the canvas. See, it actually says Canvas for us. There's Canvas. And I need to upload my file. So the upload button is in the lower left hand corner. Here's the upload button. I'm going to click that, and I want to go, even though I've got a bunch of the files already pulled up, I'm going to go to upload image, and now I'm going to browse my computer. So I'm clicking browse, and I've already opened up this file. So this is the Cricut Paper Village, the Advent Village, and oh no, this isn't the right one. Let's see, it should be on my desktop. I'm going to go to desktop. Advent Village, Christmas. Okay, this is the updated file. This is the file I wanted because it has all of the updated files. I changed the design, and I'll show you when I pull one up in just a minute. And all of these are SVG files. They work with the cutting machine. So I was going to do number 14, I believe. So I'm going to click on number 14. And that is the design that I want. So now I'm going to actually upload it so that it's within Cricut Design Space. So I'm using the green upload button in the lower right hand corner. So I'm clicking upload. And now you see it in this area. This is the one I just added. These are the ones I've been working on earlier. I kind of fiddled around with the designs to make them better. So it's number Christmas Paper Village Advent Box number 14. So I'm going to click on it, and that makes a green circle go around it. So I know it's the right one. Now I'm going to actually add it directly to the canvas with the green button at the lower right-hand side. Add to canvas. And that looks like my design, but I always like to see the entire design. So I go to this button here. This is a size button. It just shows the size on the screen. It doesn't have anything to do with affecting the actual size of the design. So I'm just going to shrink it down so that I can see the entire design, and I can see the whole thing when I reduce it to 50%. You don't have to do this, but I like to make sure I've got the right design and all the pieces on it. All right, so now it's grouped. So whenever I move anything or do anything to one piece, it does the same thing to all of them. So I'm going to ungroup it. This is called the layers panel. You see the green layers here. And this funky symbol is the group or ungroup. So I'm going to ungroup. And now you can see it's separated out my different pieces for this design. Okay, first thing, because in the past, sometimes a file would come in at the wrong side. So I usually have a 1 by 1 inch square so you can make sure it came in at the scale I wanted. And so once you know that, you can delete it. Lately, they've all been working fine, but I just do it kind of as a precaution. Or if somebody else uses different software, this scale button, the scale box may help them. So I'm going to delete that. All right. So the only part of this is Advent House number 14, that has score lines that need to be designated as score lines is the house itself. So that's the red thing. That is one thing I changed on the file, so that I made it red just to make it a little more obvious that that's the house piece. And I added window panes, so you can see the windows here. And I added a door. I thought a door, I'm going to arrange, send to back. I thought a little door would look good. So anyway, let me move my door back the way it was, maybe. So I have all the main pieces, the yellow background pieces that cover up the holes for the windows and the door is. So this one goes in the front, this one goes in the back, and these are the snowy pieces. So for the house, we have score lines and we need to designate them. So I'm going to go over to the layers panel here, going to scroll down to the piece I'm interested in, and the score lines are grouped together. So let's click this little arrow, and we can see kind of this strange little selection of lines, and those are actually all score lines. So I'm going to click on those lines. So I've only selected them, and you can tell because that's the only part that's kind of greened out. So I've selected the score lines. Now I'm going to come over to the left-hand side to the operations menu, and I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to change it to score. So we've got cut, draw, and score. So I'm clicking score, and then the next thing I need to do is to tell my machine that these score lines belong precisely here on this piece. So you can do it two ways. You can select it here and then click attach, or you can select it here where you get the grouped pieces all together. It's the same thing, and click attach. Now whatever I do, the score lines stay in exactly this same place on this part of the little house. Now the other thing is, partly because I make a lot of the same design, I might need a prototype to show you how to put it together, and I might need one for display, or I might want to do it a couple different ways. So I usually work with one color at a time. So what I'm going to do is I've already grouped these for you. So I'm going to hide the yellow pieces. So you see the little icon over here. I'm hiding the yellow pieces. And the same thing, I'm hiding the white pieces. These will be the snowy pieces that I do in glitter paper. I'm going to hide them. And I mean, if you want a red door, you can, but you know, obviously it doesn't show up on a red house. So I'm going to hide that as well. And that leaves me with just the red piece, which is, you can see the size here, 9.5 inches by about just over 6.5 inches. In other words, it takes one entire sheet of cardstock. Now I'm going to show you another thing. You do not have to do this, but it's kind of cool, and it really does make things easier for me. I know that on my machine, I usually have to run it through 2 or 3 times to cut through all the way. So lately, this is what I've been doing. Let's duplicate it. We're going to duplicate the same piece. So this little plus button does it. So I'm hitting the plus button, and now I have 2 pieces. The next thing you can do is select them both, and let's align them. Align them to the left, and then align the bottom, center them, align the bottom, whatever. So they are exactly on top of each other. Then I'm going to select them both and attach them. So it's 2 pieces that your machine will cut out twice. It cuts it out exactly the same way twice, and that saves me from having to get up and put it through and check to make sure it's okay and put it through. But that's because I know in my machine it generally takes it twice. Part of that's because I have like old cutting mats that don't where the paper doesn't stick as well, and I think the more firmly your paper is adhered to your cutting mat, the better it cuts. So I don't know. I just run mine through twice. I just wanted to show that to you. Okay, now I'll cut this out in a minute, but right now I'm going to hide it, and I'm going to show you how I do the other pieces so that I can save paper. So I'm going to hide my duplicated house piece. I'm going to hide it. And now I'm going to the grouped white pieces. Like I said, I've been using white glitter paper for this. You can use other paper, but I use white glitter paper. And this is 4.83 by 8.7. Say for example, if you know you're going to make 2 of these, it would be kind of silly to just cut out one and then cut out another. So let's ungroup it, and let's draw a background piece so we can place it on the background piece within our design space, within this section of design space, and we can duplicate things and save paper. So I'm going to go to shapes. Let's use the rectangle, and I'm going to change the rectangle to the shape that my Cricut cuts out. So I'm going to unlock it. Here's the little size button for my shape. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to make it 10.5, because you know when you put things down on your mat, Cricut adds a little border to it. So I'm going to change that to 10.5. And then so instead of being 11 inches like cardstock is, I'm making it 10.5, and I'm going to make this one 8. So I'm subtracting a 1/4 inch border around my rectangle. So I know, why isn't that turning into an 8? Oh, there it did it. So now, oh, I didn't want it 7, I want it 8. So that's the approximate cutting area on a sheet of 8.5 by 11. Now we can, the other thing you have to do is arrange. You have to send it to back. So this is behind our pieces, and we can place them. I'm going to duplicate this. I don't know why it's not white. Let's see. White. Oh well, it cuts it out right. So let's duplicate it. And plus, it's just much simpler to duplicate everything in this part of design space rather than on the mat. Like if you want to duplicate something, I moved it. Okay, so we're going to duplicate that, all our little windows, and let's just rotate them. So now I have 2 sets of white pieces, and I don't have to run one set through and then make sure it fits on the other. I know this will fit on my piece of cardstock. Now you can either hide this or delete it. And now we'll select all our white pieces, and we're going to attach them. So now when I go to make my cuts, I'm going to go to the green Make button in the upper right hand corner. Make. If I don't usually save mine because I always change the files, and I'm always trying to make sure they're perfect. So you could save it, save, and this is number 14 Christmas Advent House. Save. So now that's saved. And this is how it looks on my mat. Now, depending on what size paper you're using, choose your paper size. And I designed this and kind of thought of it as fitting on 8.5 by 11 letter size, and it automatically places it. Other thing is I usually center it a little bit on the paper because I find that it doesn't cut quite as well near the edges. And then we can continue. Oh, my machine is on. I'm using a Maker, but this would work with a Cricut Explorer, any of the Cricut Explorers, the Cricut Joy Extra. The house itself is too large for a regular Cricut Joy. All right, so I don't think I have glitter paper, but we can go to glitter paper. But I usually use cardstock for intricate cuts, and you can do more if you want, but usually with kind of funky materials I don't usually do more, and then we'll cut it out. I'm actually going to cancel this one, and that was my paper falling off the thing. I forgot to duplicate it, so if you want to duplicate it, you can do that too. Select them both, align left, center, whichever way duplicates, and then attach. So that way I know it's going to cut twice and should cut it out all the way. So anyway, I just wanted to show you quickly how to cut out the pieces for the Advent house. Wait, let's show everything again. So this is the house, and the updated version has the window panes, and I think that is going to look so much better. And this is the background piece to make the windows and the doors show up. And then these are the white snowy pieces. Alrighty, I hope you have fun making this. Alright, this is house number 1. I'm using 65-pound cardstock. I know the light shines on it. I don't really know how to avoid that problem. But anyway, house number 1 in the Christmas Advent series, and I'm going to show you how to make it. I changed the design. The initial design did not have window panes, and I think it looks so much better with window panes. And in fact, I don't even know if you need the frames around it, you know. So this has got a yellow background. Let me show you inside somehow. So you can see the yellow cardstock to go behind. But I actually think it may look better if you just skip the frames. We'll test it out with this one, with house number 1. I can't remember which house. This is kind of a variation of house number 1 with this front extension. All right, first I do want to glue on at least some of the decorations. So I really like the snow to define the roof line, so I am going to glue that on. And I added a door. I think that helps too. Okay, so first, before we do all that, I'm going to shake the glitter off from my glitter paper, and I'm going to fold along all the score lines. And I generally fold in one direction first, like all the vertical lines say. And I use my ruler just because it helps me keep it straight. You've probably learned by now I can be kind of messy. Okay, now we'll do angled lines. And so anything that helps keep me straight is a good thing. This is the front gable. And then the little bottom flap, fold along the bottom flap. Okay, those are all my lines. I always fold towards me first and then away. Forgot to do that one, but that's a simple line. Little flap. And as always, I have to make what I call the cat disclaimer. If you hear ba-dum, 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 ba-dum in the background, that's the cats running around. And truthfully, I do not mean to have a lot of cats, but they just show up. There's only one glue tab. That's the side glue tab. And let me see something. This house is 7 inches at its widest, and that means that it's really hard to modify the design so you could make it on a Cricut Joy, but it works really nicely on the Joy Extra. I think all of them will fit on the Joy Extra. So, oops, I forgot to do what I was going to tell you. It's the most important thing, and that is to glue the decorative pieces on first. We're going to take it apart. Mop up my glue blotches. Okay, so first I'm going to do the door. If you want the yellow, kind of the background piece, then let's turn it over. It's easier to apply the glue so you know that it won't extend to the visible part of the door. So I'm going to glue it on the back. The door glue goes on the back. If you use the window frames, they go on the front. But I designed the door to go on the back. And I'm going to add a doorknob. I don't know if it helps, but I just like that idea. And now I'm going to glue the glittery part to the front. And remember I said we're going to experiment and see if we like it without the window frames. So I'm going to glue this snowy gable edge down for the front and the back. Okay, now we glue along the side tab. And I really tried to make this kind of a easy project. So if you want to make all the houses, they're 14. I really wanted to come up with, like 24 or something, but I just kind of ran out of ideas. So I think you can, I think you can like duplicate some, maybe use a different color or something. And then there's the tree. There's a three-dimensional tree box too. Okay, see, basically we're done. Fold this in. Well, okay, we're done, except that it's not dry, so if you try to put it all together, it will come apart. I'm going to set this one aside. Now I'm going to do another one real quickly. This is number 12. I really like this design. It's based on an Amsterdam house. And use my trusty ruler again. I just love the houses along the canals in Amsterdam. Of course, I've never been there yet. I'm trying to get to Europe next summer, my first time. As I said, I fold it towards me first, then away. So I'm going to fold the tab back, fold this side, fold the flap down. So it does, the order doesn't matter. It's just the way I do it. So, but I've made a lot of them, so sometimes I figure stuff out that's important. Okay. Let's glue this door down on the back. I'm using lightweight glue, barely art glue. I just love this tip. It clogs a little bit, but it doesn't clog much. Okay, there's the door. And for this one, we're going to try the windows. We're going to see how they look. So we have lots of these little windows. One nice thing about the foil cardstock is that you can kind of mop up the glue easily and it won't kind of stain it. This will take me a minute, so I will kind of fast forward to this section. And there's the door frame. And now I'm going to do the kind of snowy pieces or whatever the contrasted pieces to go up here on Christmas Advent House Gift Box number 12. All right. I like that. Okay, now along the side glue tab, the only glue tab to put this house together. Try not to smear glue everywhere. Always a challenge for me. I fold this flap down so I can apply some pressure here. There we go. We will let Advent House number 12 dry and go back to Christmas Advent House number 1. See, it came undone because I didn't add more glue. Because I took it apart that time when I realized I was doing it in the wrong order. Let's fold this flap down again, this flap, so I can apply pressure at this top little corner. And what I'm going to do for demonstration purposes is apply tape to reinforce it so I can show you putting the box together. Okay, this is the front, and I usually do the bottom first. So I'm going to slide this make sure it's open. Insert the flap. Make sure the flap goes in. And then this little tab slides in easily. There we go. All right. Now, you may wonder why these flaps are here. That is, if it's a gift box and you've got something in there so it won't fall out. I forgot something. Isn't it cute? I forgot these snowy sides, the rooftop. So I think it makes sense to add these once it's put together because you don't want to glue this little slot. So I usually kind of move it down just ever so slightly, but I almost forgot it. Okay, so let's apply glue, and I usually kind of slide it in place to smear the glue a little bit. There we go. I'm not interfering with the tab mechanism. And let's glue the other side. Same thing, I start a little bit low and kind of smear it. I think that helps the glue stick better. Let's make sure it opens. Yep, see, I haven't interfered with the mechanism, with the tabs. And that's house number 1. See, that's easy. So you can put a piece of paper behind to make it solid, or you could use actually vellum to so light would shine through if you want to put a little tea light in. These are big enough so that a tea light will fit. So you can decide if you want the frames, if you want a frame to make the windows stand out, if you need a background, vellum. I was actually thinking light blue would look good behind this, would kind of work well with the red. So a background piece of paper, and do you want the little windows on there too? There we go. And this one does have snow as well to kind of hang off the roof. So we'll do the same thing for that. Isn't it a cute little box? I was very happy with these designs. And I think they'd look good in other colors. You know, a lot of times I do like a gingerbread design. I think they would look really good in brown. Okay, take the piece and kind of slide it in place right up until the seam line so you're not interfering with it. And do the same on the other side. Smear it around a little bit. Slide it up in place. Isn't it cute? Okay, so I hope you will make some of these little Advent houses. Like I said, there are 14 different designs with one tree box. So it's a green, I made it out of green foil. There we go. All right, I hope you have fun making these.